Hello. You might be able to see out the window that it's raining right now. In fact, it's been raining all day. It's expected to continue to rain with thunderstorms tonight. Now, is this rain good news or is it bad news? The answer is it depends. If you live in a part of the world that's stricken by drought, rain can be a literal answer to your prayers. However, today is the 4th of July. And many cities around the state have canceled their fireworks. And I can just imagine all of the parents comforting their disappointed children who've been looking forward to the fireworks for weeks or maybe even months. So I would like to argue that the circumstance of rain is neither inherently good nor bad. It's just the way it is. It is our thoughts about our circumstances that decide whether we get what we want or we don't. And let me prove this to you. Imagine two fictional women I'm going to call Julie and Anne. Both of them planned blowout family reunions for the 4th of July celebration. They planned elaborate picnics and outdoor sports and even boating. Then on July 3rd, they heard the weather report that it was supposed to rain all day, no break in the cloud cover, and each of their respective cities had canceled the fireworks display. So both had the same circumstances, but that's where the similarities ended. Julie had the thought, my family reunion is ruined. She felt sad and betrayed, and even a little angry. So what did she do? Well, she started calling her friends, talking about what a terrible thing happened and how nothing ever goes her way. Maybe she went up to her room, closed the door, and just lay in bed, just not knowing what she could do. Maybe she even sent a text to all of the family members saying that all of the plans were canceled and they were all on their own. And what happened? Well, the family reunion was ruined. It's a very interesting thing to see how our thoughts and our results are connected. Now, Anne had a very different response to this news report. Yes, she had this wave of disappointment, but then her thought was, we can still have a great reunion. That thought made her feel determined, and she sprung into action, figuring out how to translate the outdoor activities to indoor activities. She recruited other family members to help do all the things that were necessary to make this change. The result? They had a great family reunion. So the thought that you have about your circumstance generates feelings. Your feelings inspire you to take certain action, and the actions that you take create the results in your life. So we all face unwanted circumstances, but it's not the circumstances themselves that lead to the results that you get. It's your thought about the circumstances. Now, your brain might be pushing back and saying, that's a crazy idea. Everybody knows rain on the 4th of July is bad. Nobody wants that. But are you going to let rain determine what kind of experience you have if your whole family has come to town to celebrate with each other? If you allow your circumstances to create your results, you become disempowered. You become enslaved to your circumstances. Understanding that you have the freedom to choose your thoughts, which will translate into feelings, which will translate into action, which will translate into results, is like the freedom formula. It shows you that you have power to determine your destiny. I'm going to show you another set of circumstances. I am going to hold in front of you pieces of paper with words and pictures on them. So I was listening to a podcast about money, and the podcast host said, money talks, wealth whispers. And the point is that there's a lot of millionaires next door, and they have wealth, but they just don't boast about it, right? I thought that is a valuable idea, and I love sharing value. So I wrote it down on a note card. It inspired me. It made me want to share this with others so that you too can see the value of this idea. Now, this may or may not have value to you, right? Maybe it's just not your thing. Okay, here is another piece of paper with words and pictures. It's a dollar bill. And, it doesn't have inherent value, right? It's not that much different than a note card. The difference, though, is that we have consensus that there is certain value imbued in this piece of paper, that I can exchange this piece of paper for $1 worth of value. I get 5 times as much value if I have a $5 bill, and 20 times as much value if I've got a $20 bill, right? All right, here's another piece of paper. It's a $2 bill. Now, I love carrying these things around. I love tipping with them. I love traveling with them. The owner of my manicure shop says, "Oh, lucky money. Thank you for bringing lucky money." So what's your thought as you take a look at this $2 bill? Do you think, I'd like to have those too? Is your next thought, well, she talks about money and maybe she has a special hookup. She can get $2 bills, but I can't get them. If you think that thought, you might feel a little resentful to me, right? You might think, well, maybe she thinks she's better than I am. As a result of thinking that thought, you might pull away from me. You might not want to be connected to me. And as a result, you create this experience in which you and I are different. Things that are possible for me are not possible for you. All right, let's say that you look at this $2 bill and you think, that is really cool. I'd like to have some myself. You get excited. You get curious. You ask me, Vicki, how did you get those $2 bills? I would tell you it's really easy. Just go to the bank and ask for them. Most of the time they'll have some $2 bills. Sometimes they don't. If they have a huge stock, I'll often buy $100, $200 worth of $2 bills at a time. And what I mean is not that I have to spend money to buy them, but I exchange $20 bills for $2 bills. You might decide, I'm going to do that. And suddenly you too have something that you want. So these two different thoughts about my ability to have $2 bills impacts your reality. If you have the thought, well, it's possible for her, but it's not possible for me, you will generally engage in the actions that make that thought come true. If you think, oh, she did it, that means it's possible. That means it's possible for me too. That sets up an entirely different set of actions that creates different results. So it's not the circumstances that create our results. It's our thoughts about our circumstances. Understanding that you have the freedom to choose your thoughts and choose different thoughts that support the results that you want is always possible. Today, on the 4th of July, this is really the secret to creating personal freedom. It's one of the foundational principles in the True Wealth Way. So I hope that you have a wonderful 4th of July, and I invite you to think about your thoughts. It's really the path to freedom.